Happy Cabby released a video on his Facepalm Response channel basically asking this question: why doesn't God heal the quadriplegics, or people who can't move their arms or legs? The reason why he got asked this question is because he received a video in his inbox showing two kids who were in some healer-preacher setting. And one kid was a quadriplegic, like he couldn't move his arms or legs, and the other had some other medical problem, I don't remember what. But it showed the preacher healing this kid who could walk and move his arms, but the other kid was supposedly just pushed to the side. And the question he asks is, why did that happen? And I think that most people miss the point of this question. No matter what your position is, they just miss the point of it. Like, I think most apologetics will say, oh, you think that God just hates everybody and he doesn't care? Well, I know the point. The reason why these healings supposedly occurred, it's right in the Bible. The purpose of these healings is supposedly to bring faith towards God. Like, that's the reason why. Like, if you ask any apologetic why God doesn't just snap his fingers and then heal all sickness and ailments in the world, they say it's because God's healings are meant to be a symbol and a sign of his presence and his love. The reason why God heals people is to show his presence and his love. And, you know, that's why God supposedly still heals people to this day. You've got these preacher healer people who will take a kid who has some sort of medical problem, I don't remember what, and he supposedly heals them in front of all these people. And it's like, thank God Almighty, we saved him. But then you've got this quadriplegic child over here who hasn't been healed. The question is, if God's purpose in healing people is to provide proof and show people the light of his ways, why does he do it in cases where it's less obvious? Like if somebody has cancer or they're epileptic. Why isn't it something more obvious, like if they are quadriplegic, or if they are amputees, or if they're dead? God raised Lazarus from the death in the Bible, so that's apparently not something that he's beyond. Like, he's not going to say, no, I won't do that. So why isn't it that that type of thing won't happen in the modern day, if the purpose is to show evidence of his existence and get people to follow him? That's my question, and I think that's Happy Cabby's question too. But that's not the main purpose of this video. The main purpose of the video is to address a comment discussion that I was having with someone in the comment section. And this person basically said that it's all about perspective. Everybody has problems and nobody's perfect. And what we're doing in this situation is we're saying, oh, well, can't we have more? Can't we get something more? Why isn't God doing this or that for us? For example, a person may not be too intelligent. They may only have an IQ of 100. Whereas they say, hey, why can't I have an IQ of 170? That's so much better. That's so much more advanced. I could do so much more with that. Why don't I have that? Why do I only have an IQ of 100? There are other situations where somebody might complain about having a problem. For example, I have some slight knee pains because I ran for a while and I didn't have proper form. So now I get some chronic pain in my knees, and I can't walk or stand for several hours on end. I have to take a break and sit down for a while at first. So certain people have these certain problems. And what this guy is basically saying is it's all about perspective. No matter what problem you have, you're going to wish that things were better. And that is kind of true, because everybody does have problems and you tend to adjust to your problems. For example, if you do have an IQ of 170, or you have extra movement in your limbs, like let's say you're a bodybuilder, you know, that's just going to be the norm for you. Whereas if you're somebody like me who's not a bodybuilder by any means, or who doesn't have an IQ of 170 by any means, you know, this is just my life and I just live it. And if somebody has a low IQ, like they're mentally retarded, or they have arthritis or something, or they're a quadriplegic or an amputee, then that's just their life and they adjust to it. But the point of this isn't perspective. The point of this isn't working from your vantage point. Like, for example, I might want to be Superman. I might want to have all these superpowers. And sure, my life would be better for that. My life would be better if I was a bodybuilder and I was stronger. My life would be better if I had an IQ of 170. But the truth is, I don't need those in order to function in society. I don't need those. That's not a detriment that I don't have them. I have at least an average IQ. I have average strength in my body, so like I can lift, say, a thing of water bottles. You know, I'm pretty at least average at everything, and I can get by in society. But someone who is an amputee or quadriplegic, they're at a major disadvantage. There's this minimum level that you need to meet in order to be able to live a fair and safe and productive life. If you don't have that, it becomes much more difficult. And a lot of these people, they don't meet that minimum. And from my perspective, anybody who argues this just sounds arrogant. Like, let's say you want to be Superman, you want to be able to fly. And you're saying, that's my problem, I wish I could fly, my life would be so much better. Well, what about this quadriplegic? He can't move his arms or legs. Yeah, well, you got your problems, well, I got mine. I can't fly, motherfucker. You know, you see the problem there? You're saying like, oh, well, everybody has problems. Well, your problems are you want your life to be easier. They want their lives to be at the minimum point of being able to live a safe and healthy life. That's the point. And that's the question. Why can't these people get put into a point where they can live the minimum happiness of their life, or have the minimum capability to create happiness in their life. And you don't necessarily have to agree with this whole argument. I don't really care about it personally myself. I'm just saying that's the point of it. The point of this argument is, if the purpose of these divine healings is to prove existence and to provide evidence for faith, then why doesn't it happen in more obvious situations? And it's not about perspective. It's not about we all want something more. It's about whatever you want more is just kind of selfish, unless if you're below the minimum standard of being able to create happiness in your life. Like you can't move your limbs, you're mentally retarded, you don't have limbs, like you're an amputee, or something of that nature. And there's a huge difference there. And at the very least, I hope that anybody who argues against this point in this argument can understand that. There's a difference between wishing you were stronger or more intelligent and being a quadriplegic and wishing you could walk. There's a huge difference there.